Hi everyone, welcome to our tea break webinar on AI agents and the future of service. I'm Andrew from Journey Mapper, and while you've been joining, you see this animation showing how an AI agent can work across different platforms, not just in Intercom, but directly integrated with systems like Zendesk and Salesforce. And it's the flexibility there that it's kind of key to what we're going to discuss today with the lads. And there's loads of content out there on AI strategy and customer service. So your inbox is full of it, LinkedIn is full of it, but what we're hearing from people we talk to, it's really tough to navigate all this information and figure out exactly what it means, for your business. So we brought this conversation today, particularly Julian and Paul will have a good discussion on not doing a flashy presentation and walking through a load of slides. We're just going to have a straight talk and chat about what's actually happening in the real world with AI agents and customer service. What's Paul seeing at Intercom with their customers, what we're experiencing with our clients at Journey Mapper, the unfiltered reality of how businesses are implementing this stuff and what's working. And honestly, some of what you might hear, it would surprise you, particularly around how companies are thinking about AI not as a chatbot or anything else, but as the next support agent hire, one that works 24/7, speaks 40 plus languages, and only gets paid when it actually successfully resolves issues. That sort of thing is quite new. So at the end, we're going to offer a really good practical next step for those of you interested in this area. That'll be the ability to get a custom demo trained on your own knowledge base, and we'll send that directly on to you after the session. A very straightforward way to look at and evaluate this technology that we're talking about. If you want to get a head start, just put your domain in the chat there, and we'll get working on setting you up with your Bring Your Own Help Center. And we'll send it on to you, but we'll get on to that later. We'll get straight into the conversation now. First, I'd like to introduce our panel. I'll let my co-founder, Julian, share a bit about who we are, and then we'll get to Paul, maybe, and you can introduce yourself after. Julian, go on ahead.
Yeah, thanks, Andrew. Hi, everyone. My name's Julian Murray. I am the co-founder of Journey Mapper with Andrew. We're based in Dublin, and we are an Intercom implementation partner and AI consultancy business. A little bit about me before we get started. I've had loads of roles in my career working with CRM, customer data, and automation companies, both as a sales engineer and as a sales leader. And I think I've seen the evolution of SaaS and CRM and customer service and AI throughout my career. And we use AI across our business every single day in loads of different ways. And we advise our clients on how they use AI and what their AI strategy is for their business. So delighted to be here today. Paul, do you want to quickly introduce yourself before I start asking you a few questions?
Perfect. Thanks, Julian, and Andrew, thanks kindly. Really good to be here. Hello to everyone that I can see popping up. Hopefully we can get some chats going soon. By brief introduction, Paul Maher is my name. I've been working for Intercom for about 2.5 years, but like Julian, lots of different roles in different technology companies over the years, with more and more focus leaning in into that automation and now AI space. And in short, I lead the go-to-market for Fin AI agents, specifically on third-party platforms here at Intercom. So yeah, looking forward to having a productive conversation.
Paul, and I think I want to replay some of the conversations that you and I have had over the last few weeks. There's a lot going on in the market. There's a lot of developments in Gen AI. There's a huge impact on service and the future of service. And we thought the best way to have this short webinar was just replay that conversation, because we keep falling back to the same 3 or 4 questions that we hear from clients all the time and the same confusion that they have. And we just thought we would ask those questions out loud and discuss them. And I've a bit of a narrative here of the questions we'll follow throughout. Cool. But let's start with the first one. I think as people were joining, we had a little video or a GIF showing AI customer service agent working in a standalone mode on somebody's website, then working inside Zendesk and also working with Salesforce. And before we get to the why that exists, let's start with the what and the how. Who are Intercom and what is Fin?
Yeah, perfect. So there's kind of 2 answers to that question. I'll start with Intercom as the kind of parent company. Intercom's been in the customer support space for approximately 13 years now. We kind of name our claim to fame as the creators of the chat widget. Okay, so we're responsible for those little annoying buttons you sometimes see at the bottom right hand or left hand side of the screen. But what's a really defining kind of shift in Intercom versus maybe peers in that customer support space is that we are focused on a conversational support first model. And with that, over the last 13 years, we've brought 25,000 plus customers onto the platform, global footprint, and position ourselves as the absolute leader in AI first customer support. When we then look specifically at Fin, think about Fin as a startup within Intercom, Team Fin, that's bootstrapped by a best-in-class global support workspace provider. To kind of answer your question, we can dive into it. Like, what's the differentiating factor? Well, we see Fin and platform agnostic AI customer support agents as the absolute future of this space, and we see ourselves not just position number one in the market, but also kind of leading the space in the technological advancements and kind of the thought leadership piece around where we see the market going, based on our ability to move very fast with some of the largest AI research companies as our customers, Anthropic, OpenAI, for example, and kind of our real focus on really automating as much of that frontline customer support as possible. So Fin is the name given to that technology in the front end, Julian, and where I'm really passionate about supporting customers at the moment.
Now, I go back to the intro again, that little video, we saw Fin, or the service agent, working by itself. So my understanding is Fin can be used with Intercom. It can also be used with Zendesk, and it can also be used with Salesforce or any other platform that you have at the back end.
Yeah.
Why would a business who already has an existing customer service desk like Salesforce even consider using an AI agent from another business? Like, surely there's offers from their existing provider where they could just take advantage of that, and away they go.
Yeah, absolutely. Like from the slide that you showed there, that what you showed there is a G2 report, the spring or winter report, and now coming shortly into the spring report, specifically on that new market of AI agent. What we're really seeing is there's a lot of new entries into the space. RAG bots are a thing now where someone can lean on an LLM, package it up, and actually start delivering it as a customer support agent. Then we have players such as Salesforce, Zendesk coming to the market with either their in-house built tools or through acquisition. And then we have companies like ourselves that can ebb and flow between a completely in-house built solution, kind of from that very front end engagement all the way through managing that customer lifecycle. And in short, we've done it in a very brave way, Julian. We've challenged ourselves. We're quite aggressive in how we acquire new business from those legacy platforms. And naturally, as a sales team, we always challenge ourselves on maybe some of the opportunities that we didn't successfully close, being really candid. But from that, a lot of the times that we're hearing about why someone didn't progress to Intercom as a whole platform is around like very basic challenges that we all face in the technology space, around not having resources for migration, being locked into lengthy contracts, have a huge amount of custom development work through kind of ticket management or escalation that the business didn't feel comfortable in ripping out and replacing. And some of that, all of that is combined into one place. But one of the factors that kept coming up was that Fin AI agent was felt to be the future and the best provided technology in the AI space. So Des Traynor, our co-founder, who is now our acting CEO in Team Fin, has essentially exec sponsors to create this startup and allow customers that have given us that feedback, both those who've already looked at us as an entire platform, and then those who might never have heard of Intercom as a parent company in the first place, to start really being able to lean on that market-leading AI technology. But it's the question around, like, why would you actually use the different platform? Well, it's really about the output that you're looking to create and the value and the problems that we're looking to fix, And frankly, not all AI agents are created equally, and I think the market is becoming very acutely aware of that, With the kind of movement towards people having a GPT sitting on their phone or on their laptop and regularly engaging with it, we see the buyer is becoming more and more savvy. So we really wanted to kind of challenge the status quo. That just because you're with your incumbent doesn't mean that you should settle for a less efficient or impactful AI agent. And that's really the challenge that we set ourselves internally, to bring that message to the market.
Right. So it's the best one in the market, and it's agnostic. It doesn't matter what you you have at the back end. So service desk is one
Exactly.
thing, but if you're going to have conversational resolution with your customers at the front end, you want the best one to serve them in the best way.
Exactly.
Tell me
Yeah.
just one thing that comes up all the time once people get their head around what the options are. Like, how, just rewind a little bit, how is this different to a traditional chatbot? Like, chatbots were quite intuitive, 10 years ago, and were able to suggest knowledge articles. How is this different? Is this another chatbot on steroids, or is it something entirely different?
Yeah, I think it's an evolution of the chatbot. Okay. What I would say is the kind of role that a chatbot traditionally, like you touched on there, the role that a traditional intercom chatbot would play is to allow a customer to come to an article that feels like it could be helpful to self-serve their query. Okay, with the whole focus really around using said chatbot or workflow to kind of put a barrier between that end user and the customer support team, okay, and kind of buffer it away. Whereas now when we're thinking about AI agents and specifically Fin, we're actually more embracing the element of connecting that end user to a customer support team, albeit an AI one at this point, in a much more frictionless way. So to do that, the team are really thinking differently about Fin. It's no longer a chatbot. It is essentially a living, breathing agent that is sitting on your workspace, acting like any of your human support team would now. And that's exactly how we approach it ourselves from a customer support perspective in Intercom. So the next natural question is, Julian, like, what does that mean? Okay, so what we've challenged ourselves is on like 4 key principles that moves the needle away from a generic chatbot to a genuine AI living and breathing agent, so to speak. So we think about it like just like that new hire. Okay, so they've just landed in seat for the first time. Okay, first day at the office. What we first have to do is get them trained up on all the available knowledge. Okay, so when we traditionally think about knowledge for a chatbot, it's traditionally a help center. Okay, here's the articles, here's what you need to surface, this is the information that you're going to provide. But now using our like patent AI engine here at Intercom, we're now thinking knowledge as a much broader topic. So what systems does that individual have to lean on? What back-end solutions, what back-end processes does it have to follow? And what actual tasks needs to be encompassed in that role? So that knowledge piece has gotten a huge amount broader, okay? Secondly, when we think about that person being trained up, it's the behavior, their tone of voice, how they actually interact with your customers. And when we're talking to our prospective customers, that's one of the biggest challenges that people have, sales and support leaders have in bringing new people onto their team, be it human or otherwise. So we've really built out a tool that allows that behavior piece to be replicated, one by learning off all the great work that your human support team does, but then also using very tailored guidance to help Fin replicate the kind of look, feel, and sentiment that you would like any support agent to interact with your end user. And then finally, kind of in that bucket is the actions piece. So leveraging that information, leveraging that behavior. Fin really is challenged with actually undertaking tasks that would traditionally have to be looked at and managed by that human support team. So really we think about it as any kind of swivel chair activity that your human support team needs to do right now can be fully automated through Fin by building out best-in-class AI automations and integrations in the back end, okay? And combining that together, in essence, it's all about fully automating that frontline support team and actually promoting the human support team in seat there to that tier 2 to free them up to have a much more impactful impact on those customers, allow them spend more time on the topics that actually need that human touch and really kind of lean in to give a much stronger experience.
You're not replacing support, you're just replacing frontline, and then there's still escalations from the AI to
Absolutely. You'll never hear the team here at Intercom talking about replacing human support agents. Okay, we're in the business of bandwidth here at Intercom, and we see that bandwidth happening for the human support team by removing all that noise on the front line. So to give you some kind of feedback, since we went live with Fin nearly 24 months ago now in our own customer support team, there's not been a single additional hire, but those that we're in seat at now are working on much more impactful things.
Okay, so it's like another hire And I've seen the demos. I've been a Fin fan for over a year, but not everyone else has, and certainly people in the call haven't. So Fin or whatever it is, if you're employing this type of technology in your business, you're setting it up inside your existing solution or service desk as a type of agent. Maybe you just talk a little bit about Zendesk or Salesforce and what it would look like if you.
Absolutely. Like the narrative that we always have is, AI can be so many different things to different people. Okay, but when it comes specifically to support, it really is about Fin just replicating the day-to-day work of a frontline team member. So the team here at Intercom have really kind of tried to live and breathe that whole mantra when it comes to creating the Fin AI agent workspaces. And specifically for Zendesk, we want to really kind of make our end users comfortable that we're not trying to change anything that's happening. Okay, that was really important piece to us. We want to be that additional layer on the front end, but hey, we don't want any of your ticketing assignment rules, your reporting, all the handoff or escalation or the integrations that you have on Zendesk to be affected by the work that we're doing for you. Okay, so when you stop thinking about the kind of the scary side of how is this going to work, to Fin working on that front end, everything else behind that working identically, it removes a huge amount of that friction and concern, particularly on that Zendesk piece. Same would apply exactly for Salesforce, the principle and so on and so forth for whatever platform that is. The principle remains the same.
Okay, so just like hiring a fully trained rep and adding them to the team. I have a question, right? And you and I have had numerous conversations about this, and Andrew and I have had numerous conversations about this. I'm all on for innovation, right? Whether it's product or commercial, and I've seen loads of models over the years, usage based, resolution based. It looks like the market is moving to outcome based pricing, and I think some people are as confused about what their commercial model should be as what their AI strategy should be. Like, when I think of software as service or outcome-based pricing or moving to charging people per resolution, what is that and why is the market going that way? Is that just another way to charge people twice, like charge them for a seat and then also charge them for usage? Like, explain, pull that apart for me.
Yeah, so why don't we talk about it? For us, both applies, okay? So if there are human agents working within a customer support platform, be it Intercom or another, we still see there as a space for them to be sitting on a seat and for the traditional kind of SaaS model to apply there. But theoretically, what we want to do over time is really significantly decrease the amount of tickets or conversations or whatever channel that team is supporting in actually needing to be handed over to that human support team. So once we think about that resolution cost on the front end, while there is a seed element in the back end, we see it decreasing as success becomes more and more apparent for the AI element. So they work symbiotically in my view, okay? But let's kind of ring fence it specifically for Fin AI working on Zendesk for that instance, okay? We require absolutely no investment in seats for Fin. Okay, we are very proud of the product that we've built, the technology behind it, and we've hedged on the success of the tool based on the impact on that resolution and that deflection of those inbound tickets. And our view, and we feel really strongly, is that our customers should only pay when we are successfully resolving customer support queries. Okay. I think the market is kind of coming to that element, but what we see is like cost per API call, cost per conversation. In my view, if I'm speaking frankly, that's based on fear of like, we're not going to get as much right as we do wrong. So we need to find like cost, we need to get revenue out of both elements. Mm-hmm. Where for us, it's only about that successful outcome. If there's human intervention required, there is absolutely no cost associated with Fin. Okay. In theory, we don't charge you to get the software set up, integrate, push it live. All of that's on us. We only want to start seeing that resolution coming in as we're sharing success with our customers. Something that our founder, Owen McCabe, talks a lot about is the big shift in this space is actually around the partnership between said vendor and that end user. Okay, and that is built on a trust piece. And if people are scratching their heads about, hey, I don't know if that was a resolution or was that this, that ambiguity is really going to damage the relationship and damage the trust of said provider's technology. So it's really brave, and it's a shared success, because if our end users aren't getting those really strong percentage, that 54% deflection or resolution minimum, we don't get paid either, frankly, right? So it's in our interest to get that 54 benchmark up to, I think our peak resolution with some of our users now is 86%. So that's where the magic comes in between that, in that partnership piece.
So if it doesn't work, they don't pay. Do you see a future? I'm going off script here. One last question, and then I want to give it to the floor for any questions that come in. Do you see a future where a business, whether it's international, multiple different languages, multiple different departments or products, where they might have different type of AI agents all working at the front end, engaging different segments of their customers?
Absolutely. Like, I think it's that's already happening with Fin. We push our tools to support huge amounts of variation in industry, customer requirements, outcomes that a customer is looking to have. Where I think it's actually going to go, Julian, is like beyond the use case of support, right? It fits really nicely for support right now, but who's to say that your marketing agent or your BDR or your SDR in your org has that AI element on the front end with the human support team jumping in when it makes sense. So I think the use case of that buffer and kind of that at scale, high quality AI agent is going to kind of ebb and flow through every part of a customer's go-to-market strategy. That's kind of where we see it going.
I presume people will just buy the best of breed in each different discipline, right?
Absolutely. And then they have the best talent in the back supporting that they're highly trained, they're highly confident, and they really are like a step above what might be seen as a traditional customer support SDR, BDR agent.
I'll hand it back to Andrew, but I've loads more questions, but I'll stop because I did promise everyone we'd be on time. We'd leave time for questions, so please put them into the chat window. But I know, Andrew, while somebody's brave enough to start the first question, Andrew, I know you've got a question because me and you have been arguing for the last 12 or 14 hours over one particular point about whether it's relevant.
I would say, more accurately, we've been arguing for about 12 months about all of this because what struck me from today's conversation with yourself and Paul, it's really interesting. A lot of Intercom's customers and the people we talk to at Journey Mapper, they're all struggling with the same support challenges. And if you just swap out Fin or AI support agent for human support agent, it all starts to make a lot of sense around quality service, budget constraints, handling after hours coverage, scaling if you've got a really successful product, which is still a kind of a problem on the support side sometimes. Like these constraints around customer service and support and all of that kind of thing. And you mentioned briefly the kind of economics of all of it, where it's it's $1 for an AI resolution versus say $10 for a human handling of that same issue. A lot of those issues being kind of slightly trivial a lot of the time, like repetitive stuff that an AI agent should be handling. But the question that Julian and I have been kind of throwing between us this week is it's not a build versus buy question. We thought it was initially, right? It's not. It's Intercom have built an intricate architecture around this AI agent they call Fin, and it's really complicated. But if I go on LinkedIn, I'm going to see somebody claiming to have built something that looks a little bit like it, and I don't have the technical knowledge to know the difference between what they've built with a ChatGPT kind of hack or whatever, and comparing that to the enormous amount of work that all the engineers at Intercom are doing to put all their bets on getting this stack right for all of this to work properly. So how do you deal with that on your side, and what is the difference from a point of view of someone looking at all this from what am I getting here?
Yeah, so in one line, the differentiator and our kind of USP for Fin is like an industry leading resolution rate, okay, matched with the industry's lowest hallucination rate, okay? So we have gone all in on quality of answer, okay? And that sounds like a very easy thing, but that is the most difficult task to deliver, to make that statement of true human-like customer support. Okay, now we could spend a whole nother 30 hours talking about the work that goes into that. But our view is that if you think about that iceberg effect, that analogy, okay, there's a lot of tools that can deliver a 15 to 20% resolution of general FAQs. Okay, we get into the deeper conversation of what is a resolution. Is that 55% the same as that 60%? Because that 55% could be half of all your general FAQ queries. Whereas at Fin, we're saying that's half of everything. Okay, all human tasks. So we really need to educate the buyer to be quite savvy in understanding, the differences between these tools, and that's what probably one of the most fulfilling part of my role is. Okay,
yeah.
But when it comes down to it, we like getting in the ring with our competitors. Okay, because we win. We really bring the success to life in cold hard data and customer satisfaction. Okay, so I think the age of hands-on testing is really truly here versus, hey, Julian, from your background, SE comes in, gives the demo. Hey, isn't that theory all great? Purchase, success. Okay, success happens nearly before the purchase now. Okay, so when you're signing your contracts, as our customers are, it's implemented, it's doing this work, it's hitting the milestone. So that's a real shift in the buying journey now, and that's really what's required to kind of sift between the noise and see who the real players are in the space.
Well, it all makes sense from the point of view of seeing people coming in as your next customer support agent hire, that being Fin. You wouldn't expect a customer support agent, no matter how good they were, to ramp up to be your best support agent unless you provided them with more depth than just the knowledge base. And it seems like that's the case with Fin, and giving Fin that access and that ability to really excel. And that practical application, like that, just give it a go, and putting that next to an agent, you've made that very easy. And just to kind of conclude, we have collaborated on this wonderful offer for everybody who's attending, which is we can give you that knowledge base analysis of your own knowledge base. We can bring your own help center to Fin, and you can have an example of that working tomorrow, right? We can do it really quick and send it to people today. So it's very easy to put this into practice for your own unique business. If you have even the most rudimentary knowledge base, you get a sense of what
or
can
website
be done.
Content,
any amount of content. Just put your domain into the chat, or we'll follow up afterwards, and we can send you on that. Bring your own knowledge base, and be happy to do that with no strings attached.
And what I'd say to the listeners on that, test Fin, be cheeky, play dumb, ask questions in different languages. That's when the power of Fin really comes to life, that contextual ability to answer questions, to triage, to dig deeper. Okay, that's where the tool really comes to life, and that's where that quality of answer really comes to life. So yeah, we love people, it's a top line demo. If it makes sense, we can go a lot deeper, talk about those actions that we touched on. But yeah, give it a whirl, try it out and challenge it. That's what I always love to hear, because those challenging questions are really when we start thinking about what this looks like for an organization in their AI transformation.
Brilliant. We're on time. Julian, should I wrap up?
Let's go.
Okay, well, thanks for everyone for taking the time out of your day to join the conversation. The guys mentioned earlier the magic between your 50 and 100%. To get the resolution up to 100%. We're not guaranteeing that, but Journey Mapper's very good at getting from 50 to 86, say. So we are looking forward to kind of the follow up after this. But the first step should be really just to send us your domain or send us your website, and we'll get moving on sending you a personalized bring your own help center. But thank you to everyone who attended. Hope you found it helpful in cutting through the AI noise and confusion and got something useful out of it. And thanks to Paul for joining us. You're very kind to take time out of your busy day.